So glad you're with us on Wealthy Living New Mexico. Brad Johansson along with Sean Keeney, Tyler Keeney, Wealth and Retirement. It is a blast to be with you guys. So glad you had me back. Thanks for letting me play with you.
It's going to be a great show today. Looking forward to it.
Good to see you again.
We're going to work on it with you here because, look, the idea is this seems complicated, and it is because the government tries to do that with just about everything. But retirement can be easy when we put the whole puzzle together. But there are problems. Look, the stats continue to reveal a lot of the problems. I'll tell you what some of the problems are. Look, if you think that you can get out of being one of these stats, go with God. This is a beautiful thing. Here's the problem. 7 out of 10 of us who hit 65 are going to need some form of long-term care. Well, that's not going to be me. Healthy, got great living. My family's been very good. 7 out of 10 of you are going to need some form of long-term care. We're going to spend some time talking about why that's so significant. Start with the basics. When I say long-term care, and 7 out of 10 of us are going to need it, what does it entail for long-term care, and why are most of us going to hit that spot, Sean?
Great question. So it first starts, a doctor must certify that you need some kind of cognitive care, like for Alzheimer's or dementia, or they must certify that you can't perform what are called 2 activities of daily living, which are things like eating, going to the restroom, walking, bathing yourself, dressing yourself. If a doctor certifies that you either need cognitive help or you can't perform 2 of those activities of daily living, as we call them, you qualify for long-term care, for needing long-term care.
And once we get into this, Tyler, what's the danger when I throw the numbers out of 7 out of 10 of us are going to hit this spot? Dangerous misconception that I get to this spot and by the time I'm that old, it's all going to be covered?
One of the biggest ones is that I have Medicare, I'll be okay. You're funny. Medicare only covers the first 100 days of long-term care, and it stops once a condition becomes chronic. You know what's even funnier? Most reasons that people go into long-term care is because something is chronic. So Medicare is telling you, hey, we're only going to cover the first 100 days, but people are relying on Medicare to pay for that long-term care. And then once they realize that Medicare isn't going to cover that care for them, it's already too late. They've already been billed, and they have to start paying this stuff out of pocket because they didn't have a plan for it and they weren't prepared.
Well, and I think for a lot of you, it is getting prepared. We will talk about a plan ad nauseum on this program, that if you don't have a plan to plan for the what ifs, which is 7 out of 10 of you are going to hit this situation, then you don't have a plan for it. Well, I've amassed an amount of money that maybe I can just take care of it myself. Here's the problem, that once we get past this age of 65, the average bill for most of you are going to spend $300,000 to $400,000 on health care in that time. So am I ready? Well, Keeney's have put together a quiz for you. Are you ready? This is kwealthquiz.com. Scan the QR code. What does it do for me? Gives you an idea of whether or not you're ready in multiple areas, and certainly as we talk about long-term care, where we need to be. So if Medicare stops and someone has a chronic condition, and I've been told, hey, all of this is going to be covered, I'm good. What happens after that when I've got to figure this whole thing out?
Unless they qualify for Medicaid, which means basically you have no assets, the only option is people have to pay for the long-term care themselves.
Hold it, I have to drop all my assets to get to this spot?
To get to Medicaid, yes.
Okay, so
for most people, that's not an option. Most people, if you don't have a long-term care policy in place or some way to ensure that, most people are going to have to cough up somewhere between $5,000 to $10,000 a month to pay for that type of care.
All right, you got to give me some solutions. We're getting scary moments here. All right, because Look, for a lot of you, and you may have had grandpa do this, you may have had mom or dad do this, buy a long-term care policy, and they complained about this long-term care policy that I'm paying into it.
Yep.
So I don't want to hope that I get sick, but I kind of hope that I get sick so that I at least have something to pay for, because if I don't use it, I lose it. Are there better solutions now that are out there that we need to pay attention to?
Great point, definitely. And in our live events, we ask folks, and I'll ask everyone watching out there today, how many of you actually have a long-term care policy? I'm going to say that less than 5% of the people that we see in our live events or our TV show, they don't have a long-term care policy. Why? Stuff you just mentioned. It's use it or lose it. With those long-term care policies, they're great if you have them, but they're expensive. And then if you pay on them for 30 years and you die suddenly and never needed to use the long-term care, all of that money is gone. So what other solutions are there out there?
Okay, I'm asking, what other solutions are out there?
Asset-based solutions. So like we tell people, your money's got to sit somewhere, right? Let's think about this. It's either in your 401k, in stocks, bonds, maybe bank CDs, annuities. It's got to sit somewhere. Maybe some old-fashioned folks have it in the Folgers can. You'll remember that one, right?
Or sitting under the mattress.
Under the mattress. Your money's got to sit somewhere. So why not have your money sitting in an account that's most advantageous for you? So what we're talking about is there are actually plans out there. There was a law passed a few years ago called the Pension Protection Act. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so basically what that law allowed insurance companies to do is offer long-term care solutions that are tax-free and that give you quite a big bang for your buck. What am I talking about? So a solution. There's actually a type of annuity that will grow your money safely, 5, 6, 7% interest a year. So let's say you put in $50,000 into that account.
Yep.
Let's say 4 or 5 years later, your account value went from $50,000 to $70,000 because of the interest it earned.
Okay.
But right then, you qualify for long-term care. You have a health care change and you need long-term care. That $70,000, the insurance company will multiply it by 3 and actually pay you out $210,000 in long-term care over a period of years. That's what we're talking about. By simply switching where you have your money, you already have the money to cover long-term care, most of you out there. If you leverage it, if you put it in one of these asset-based plans, we can show you how to leverage it and get most of your long-term care, if not all of it, potentially covered without having to pay a monthly bill. It's pretty incredible.
It is hedging to that point. Tyler, you're out doing these workshops as well, all around the community. It is common for you to be in these workshops and hear from these people that they don't have this option fortified for looking down retirement for the next 30 years?
Yeah, incredibly common. And it's made me really think as a young person, because we always think about planning proactively.
Yeah.
It's really made me think. I played football. So if I was going into a game completely unprepared, I would be nervous, I would be scared, I would not know what to do. So in football, it's all about having a plan, and preparation is what gives you confidence. And if you're feeling anxious or scared about that, it's because you haven't prepared. So it's incredibly common to see people that are afraid or unprepared, or just their plan is just, hey, I'm just gonna pay it out of pocket. I'm just gonna pay $6,000 a month on the low end out of my own savings.
And hope that the money lasts.
Yeah, but see, why would you ever do that? Why would you pay $6,000 a month out of your own pocket when you can put some assets into something like we just mentioned, a long-term care annuity, that'll triple the amount of money you paid? So essentially, you put in $2,000 instead. Think about it this way. So you would be paying $2,000 a month as opposed to $6,000, because the annuity will triple what you put in.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Look, the idea is figuring out what options are best and doing it before the what if happens.
Yes.
You're not going to avoid the statistics of 7 out of 10 of you are going to need it. It just seems to work out that way. That even though we have planned that our life is going to be better than everyone else's, the statistics end up catching up with you. Why don't you hedge to that point and make sure that you get to keep your money? It's not a use it and lose it situation. Hopefully you've taken the quiz. Scan this QR code to be able to get your readiness understanding underway. And my goodness, once you get there, wouldn't you like some help? Wouldn't you just like a second opinion to say, can you help me through this? I'd really like it to work. 877-697-6236. When we say this is education-based and it is education first, that is the foundation, which means you're looking for the foundation that is going to hold up for potentially the next 30 years. You'd probably like some help with that. Let us do that for you. 877-697-6236. Put together a complimentary plan that is well beyond long-term care. It is your retirement puzzle put together like only yours can look. Make the call. Be right back.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
Hey, glad you're with us on Wealthy Living New Mexico. Brad Johansson along with Sean and Tyler Keeney. Keeney Wealth and Retirement. Glad you're with us. Thanks for spending time. We're talking long-term care. And we're doing this for the most part. You guys say this is very common in kind of what you do out in the community. This is a workshop. I don't know whether I say favorite. It isn't a favorite because of the worry. It is a favorite because we don't know a whole lot about this. And people constantly are saying, thank you for bringing this stuff up for us.
Exactly. In our live events that we do kind of a roundtable Q&A
and where
session.
can people, as you talk about this, where can people find out where you are when you are? Is there a spot that they can land on a website?
Yes, on our website we have all of our events and locations listed, and we send out invitations as well in the mail and social media and all that. But in our live events, we open it up to questions from the audience. You know which question gets asked probably the most?
What is
either
it?
On taxes,
Yep.
how to reduce taxes, or what about long-term care?
Yeah.
So what that tells us is people out there are thinking about it. They're concerned. They can see maybe they've had a neighbor, a friend, a relative that has needed long-term care, and they can see, oh man, that costs a lot. And
Yeah.
my grandma had to come up with $8,000 a month or whatever to pay for it. So they're thinking about it. They just don't want to go, like we said, go get the traditional long-term care policy, use it or lose it. And so we can tell people are thinking about it. And man, when we mention this in our live events, it's incredible how many people are coming in, and we're helping getting these type of long-term care annuities set up. They just make sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. And it makes sense for you to take this quiz, which is why we have this up. kwealthquiz.com. Scan the QR code. What am I prepared for? What am I not prepared for? This gives you an idea of a base foundation of where you are. Scan the code, and then you're probably going to reach out for help. But it's how do we answer the question? Skilled care, chronic care. We kind of talked about chronic care, and oh my goodness, this is where we're going to go. Can you give me an idea, Tyler, between the difference between the two, and because once the line's crossed, it crosses a big line.
Yes, sir. So skilled care is short term, and post-surgical rehab, stroke recovery, this is what Medicare was designed for. Chronic care managers, a condition that is not going away, dementia, Parkinson's, ongoing daily assistance. That's what these are for.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's so much to this topic. It's impossible to cover now, but the important thing is hey, let's sit down, let's look at what we're really covering and what we're looking at, and see if we can even see what you're concerned about, see how we can help you. Yes, sir.
Walk us through the options, Sean. Where do people actually receive this care? What should I be investigating before something like this happens?
A lot of it nowadays is in-home care. A lot of people, when they hear long-term care, because I've heard it many times, oh, that's not going to be me. I'm not going to let anyone put me in a facility. You know, my kids are going to take care of me, that kind of stuff. So long-term care can actually be in-home as well. Other places are in like skilled nursing facilities, nursing homes, rehab centers, assisted living facilities. That's where people typically get this type of long-term care. But again, what I want to point out is now a lot of people choose to get it in their house, in home.
Cost? Do we need to get to cost, guys? Do you have even?
Definitely.
Okay. Give me some estimates where we are, and starting with, I guess, assisted living. What are we looking at a month?
For the lowest we've seen is $5,000 to $6,000 a month for the most basic care. We have a client who's a nurse in one of these facilities. He said the minimum somebody pays is $6,000 a month.
Wow.
To have your own room, just to have your own room, it's $12,000 a month.
And who wants a roommate when you're feeling like this at this point, right?
And that's just to have your own room. Yeah. Imagine not having to pay $12,000 just for some privacy.
What's the percentage increase a year that we're usually looking at? And my goodness, if we're talking about a lot of this for many people, and it may be longer for women because they last longer than us guys who are stupid, what are we looking at as a percentage increase? And for a lot of you, it's not figuring this number in, right? As to this could last and could go for a while.
Exactly. It's about those long-term care costs that Tyler just mentioned increase about 3% a year. So what does that mean? If you're younger right now, within the next 20 years or so, those costs are going to double. It's going to be like on the low end, $10,000 a month, and to get a private room, $16,000 a month. So that's why it's so important. Like I always tell folks, you want to work with an advisor, yes, that plans for good things to happen, but you also want them to plan for the bad things, those potholes in the road that may pop up in your retirement that you're not planning for. And like you said earlier, it's important to start planning for those things early. Once you need long-term care, it's too late.
Yeah. So are you telling me that within this plan, which we continue to push, let's put together a plan. It is not just, hey, I'm going to put this money sitting here under the mattress for long-term care. We now have better solutions in the beforehand that can actually grow money and also be a potential hedge for this down the road?
Yes, sir. I touched on this earlier, but I want to go deeper into
Please.
the point. We had a client come in. He had a large portfolio,
okay,
and he had some assets just kind of in the market. He just didn't need them, didn't want them. He just wanted to let them sit and grow. We asked him what his long-term care plan was. What are you going to do if you need long-term care? He says, I'm just going to use this account here. He had about $1 million. And we ran the numbers, found out he would end up paying around $400,000 over a certain amount of years if he needed that care. What we did is say, hey, if we could just take 10% of your portfolio, which is about $100,000, put it into one of these accounts, on day one, you're going to get $300,000 of long-term care coverage over 5 years. It sure beats paying $400,000 out of pocket if you can get $300,000 on day one of coverage just by paying $100,000.
Let the insurance company pay
let
it.
the insurance company pay for it, and instead of that money's going to grow interest as well. So at some point, that coverage will long surpass that $400,000 that he was going to need, and he only paid $100,000 for it.
It is using the tools that you have at hand to optimize the reason for where your money is. Purpose determines the placement. And your plan will determine where each dollar needs a job. Let's put your money to work for you to last until your last breath. 877-697-6236. It is to put together a complimentary written financial plan. Man, we follow the government's lead too much, which is let's kick the can. Let's let the next Congress do this. Let's solve the problem later until it's too late. Your government's now nearly $39 trillion in debt. How are they doing at that plan? Let's do it before it gets to the end and you can't figure it out then. 877-697-6236. Well, what's that going to cost me now? Absolutely nothing. The plan's complimentary. Doing nothing could cost you everything. Make the call now. Back after this.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there every square. Happy birthday to you. As you can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion...
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Glad you're with us on Wealthy Living New Mexico. Brad Johansson, Sean, and Tyler Keeney. Keeney Wealth and Retirement, talking about long-term care. It is the what if that you say, I'm going to worry about that later. How about you worry about it now? Because worrying about it now and preparing for it will give us a little step ahead. Walk me through some of the options available for if I'm going to do long-term care planning, Tyler.
Yeah. So Medicaid is one of them, but that is the last resort. After the government's drained all of your assets, everything you have is gone, then Medicaid will come in and start to pay for that for you, which is ridiculous in my opinion. There's traditional long-term care policy, traditional insurance, where you pay a monthly premium, and then if you ever need it, then you'll get it. But the problem with that money disappears if you never need it, and they're expensive unless you got it while you were really young. Mm-hmm. So that's one. Another option here is to self-insure. Pay it out of your own pocket. Handle it yourself. Spend all the money you have to pay for this. Self-insure. Or you can have your family take care of you, which is what we all want. But if that's your plan, did they know that? Are they prepared for that? And the last one that we've been touching on this TV show is the asset-based long-term care annuity, which will triple your money, leverage your money, get you coverage at the fraction of a cost.
Asset-based options better now than they ever been, Sean?
Way better. A few years back, there was a law that we talked about in another show called the Pension Protection Act that was passed because the government realizes this is a crisis. This is serious. This long-term care, 7 out of 10 people are going to end up needing it. So this law allows insurance companies to now provide what we call asset-based long-term care solutions. It works like this. And there's a little bit of underwriting that goes with these, but about 90% of the people out there will qualify for this type of account. Super simple. It's just transitioning where you have your money to a better place for it. For example, we had a client come in that had a lot of his money in bonds. Bonds are pretty bad right now, yielding 2%. He said, can I take some of that bond money and reposition it in this long-term care annuity? Yes, you can. So let's say if you took $100,000 put it in the long-term care annuity, it's going to grow. So let's go down 5 years. Let's say that 100,000 turned into 120.
Okay.
And then you needed long-term care right then. For most people, and again, you have to qualify for the 3-time benefit, but it's pretty easy. Most people would get 3 times the amount of whatever their account has grown to in long-term care benefit paid out over a period of years. It's pretty incredible. So it's just repositioning your money. It's the same money. You're just positioning it better. Think about it. What is that bond doing for you? Earning 2% and possibly losing money? Why not put that into something here where it's going to earn much more than the bond? And if you need long-term care, in most cases, they're going to triple that for you. I mean, it's just being smart. Your money's got to sit somewhere. Why not work with an advisor that knows about these type of accounts? That's what we hear from most people. This is awesome. I wish I would have known about this years ago. No one's ever told me about that. It's working with a smaller, independent, local firm that can offer these type of options to you that you're not gonna see at these big box firms.
And to add to that, if you don't need it, the assets are still yours.
Yeah.
It's your money.
It grows, the interest, and if you pass away, if you don't need it, all the money goes to your beneficiaries. It's your money still. And you just have this added coverage and this added benefit just by simply where your money's sitting.
I would say one last point, Brad. I've been doing this for over 23 years. This is the most innovative financial product that I've ever seen in 23 years in this business. If it sounds interesting out there, if you're concerned about long-term care, not knowing how you're going to pay for it, give us a call. Let us show you the numbers, your numbers, answer all your questions, and it's probably going to be a fit for you. And if not, we'll tell you.
You like options? How about the best one for you? Make the call. 877-697-6236. Let's use all the options that are there for you and do it now before the what if happens. Your time's the greatest asset you have. Thanks for spending some of it with us. Now use it on yourself. See you in the office, put together your plan. And right back here next time on Wealthy Living New Mexico.